syringe. You want to place it in the rinsing solution. Draw up just a little bit. You can then close the tube, and you can clean the inside of the barrel by continuing to draw up. Don't come too far out, because you can pull the plunger right out, and that's not good. But you can just slosh that around a little bit and rinse it out, and then into the waste. You should probably also rinse with your sample as well. You can do the same kind of thing with your sample as you go. Now, once you've done that, again, make sure you label those. You know which one's which. And this can go right back into the syringe pump. And the needle in. There we go. Once you've prepared your sample, you can fit it into the syringe pump. Just push that in until it's all the way in. You can feel it stop. Adjust the syringe pump so that it sits, both the glass end and the plunger fall right in there. Click it over, tighten it up, good to go.
Alright, so now that the syringe, as you can see right in here, has been placed into the syringe pump, I just want to show you a few key points. One is the glass part of the syringe is going to sit right in this slot, and there's a little notch where you can put the glass lip of the syringe right into, and it should fit kind of snugly. I'll just sit right in there. This black part is just going to cap on top, so you can actually swivel this over, and it's just to hold the syringe down. Here's the plunger, and so if you notice this black cap portion sits right in this little gap, and so you could see on the previous slide that we had screwed these in, and they just make this tighter or looser depending on if you're trying to take the syringe in or out. Alright, now depending on how much solution you pull up, this distance is going to be variable lengths. And the way you adjust this is there's this button here. So this gold button, you press it in, so just pinch the two sides with your fingers, and then it'll let you slide it back and forth. And you just want to make it the appropriate distance. So you slide it into the right distance, whatever you pulled it to. It doesn't really matter. You know, as long as you have some solution in your syringe, it's not going to matter what this distance is. You just want to make sure that this fits here, and then you pull this whole portion back. This whole piece will slide back and forth so that this fits snugly right in there. Once it sits in, tighten these two screws, and you're set to go.
Come back over to the software, turn on the syringe pump. Light should go green, and then you can fast forward until you start to see signal. And so there you have the signal. And so you should have, depending on what you have in there, a number of different lines, hopefully some smaller than larger.
Just to highlight what we just covered is, make sure when you come to the screen, the first button you want to click is this one right here where it says syringe pump. You just want to check that box, and then what you should see happen is this green light should come on. And what that's going to do is start to inject your solution into the mass spectrometer. Now the other button you want to hit right after that is this fast forward. So if you remember, there was a little bit of tubing, and that tubing had some dead space or some previous solution that was injected by the previous user of the instrument. So the fast forward is going to allow it to inject a lot more solution in quickly so you can get to your sample. So these are the first two buttons you want to click: the syringe pump, and then hold down the fast forward. So don't just click it once, hold it down until you start to see some samples come up here. So you're going to see some peaks that are going to relate to the samples going through the mass spectrometer. So when you start to see some good steady peaks up here and they start to be the same peaks consistently, then you can let go of the fast forward button. It should only be a couple seconds.
Set your file name here, and then you can begin to collect data by clicking the play button, the acquisition button. This should turn blue from green. It was green. This should also start a time. You can.
Alright, so once you're done fast forwarding the solution, so you should see some good peaks showing up in your spectra, what you want to click now is, you were previously had the source button clicked, click on the sample info. Right, once you click on that, you should be able to type in your file name. And so you have to change the file name or it won't let you start recording your data. So in here, put your initials followed by a number. Alright, once you have that filled, you want to make sure that this is Organic Lab, so that way it all goes to the same folder. So there's a folder specifically for our course. And then once that's set, this button up here, so if you look at the top of the screen, it almost looks like a green play button. you want to click that. And what that's going to let you do is actually record all the information that's coming through the mass spectrometer. So everything all the data that's being collected will be saved, and that way we can look at it on the next screen. So click the play button up on top once you're ready.
See that it's collecting data here. We're in negative ion mode right now. You could change it to positive ion mode. One of the great things about this actually is you can let it run for about 0.45 minutes, let it run for half a minute, and then right in the middle of the run, you can actually change it to the other mode if you want. And let that go. And so just switch it to positive. So now we're collecting something completely different in terms of the ions, the positive ions now. Let that run for another half a minute. And when we go to the next page on the data analysis, you'll be able to see both the positive and the negative spectra that were collected. When you're ready to be done, you can just go back up and click the stop button, and it will have saved my data under the file name that I had. Stop, the light goes back to green. It's still collecting data. If you want, you can go back to the source page where you started and turn off the syringe pump. Save your sample. If you want to check it again later, do some other experiment with that prepared sample. Okay. Now we're going to enter the data control, which is on the next data analysis, rather, is on the next page. Normally this would have nothing in it, but I was doing some other stuff. And so you can just restart it or reopen it, close everything. And under file here, just open, and it goes right to the organic lab data. My video file for this video is video.d. You actually click on the folder, it turns it into a thing that looks like a peak, and you click open, and your data comes up here. And so here we have in the green, you can actually see the negative ion spectra, and then in red is the positive ion spectra. And that's generally the two colors it comes in. And so we can see these two. I can turn off the positive ions. So you can see there it says plus all, and this is minus all. Okay? And so I can turn off and look at just the green, or I can turn off and look at just the red. Once I'm looking at just the positive ions now, I want to make sure that my window says plus all. I can now just take the average, right click on the data and say average spectrum. And it says, do you really want to make an average of all the entire range? And the answer is yes, because I was putting the same stuff in the whole time. And so then it spits out my mass spectrum with my weights.